I'll Give You the Sun, Chapter 6, Section 2. When I wake the next morning, I check to see if Brian's responded to Noah's post. Nope. Check to see if Noah's already gone like yesterday. Yup. And then, despite bone-deep disappointment about Oscar the Girl Inhaler and uneasiness about both bloody ferocious Guillermo and the vigilante ghost squad, I'm out the door. I need to get Noah and Jude out of that rock. I'm a few steps down the hallway at Guillermo's when I hear raised voices coming from the mailroom. Guillermo and Oscar are arguing intently about something. I hear Oscar say, "You couldn't possibly understand. How could you?" Then Guillermo, with an unfamiliar hardness in his voice, "I understand very well. You take risks on that motorcycle, but that is it. You are a coward in a tough leather jacket, Oscar. You let no one in, not since your mother died. You hurt before you can be hurt. You are afraid of the shadow." I about faced and am almost to the door and out of there when Oscar says, "I let you in, G. You're like a father, the only one I've had." Something in his voice stops me, sears me. I rest my forehead against the cold wall, their voices quieter now, unintelligible, not understanding how it can be that even after everything that happened yesterday with Brooke, all I want to do is run to the motherless boy in the next room who is afraid of the shadow. I do not. Instead, I go to church, and when I return to the studio an hour or so later, all's quiet. I spent my time with Mr. Gable trying not to be a compassionate person, trying not to think about a scared, grieving boy in a tough leather jacket. It wasn't too hard. I sat in the pew, the same one I was in when Oscar and I met, and repeated the mantra, "Come here, sit on my lap, ad infinitum." Guillermo greets me in the mailroom with safety goggles on his head. There's nothing in his expression to indicate he's recently taken a circular saw to Oscar. He does look different, though. His black hair is powdered with dust like Ben Franklin, and a large paisley scarf, also dusted with white powder, is wrapped a few times around his neck. Has he been carving? I glance up at the loft. No sign of Oscar. He must have left. Not surprising. Guillermo sure wasn't holding back on the tough love. I can't even remember the last time Dad went at Noah or me like that. I can't remember the last time Dad was really a dad. "I was afraid we scare you away," Guillermo says, examining me a little too closely. The examining and the "we" make me wonder what Oscar might have told him. And that makes me wonder if what I overheard before might have had something to do with me. "Oscar say you leave very upset yesterday." I shrug, feeling heat in my face. "It's not like I wasn't warned." He nods. "If only the heart listened to reason, right?" He puts an arm around me. "Come on. What is bad for the heart is good for the art. The terrible irony of our lives as artists." Our lives as artists? I smile at him, and he squeezes my shoulder the way I've seen him squeeze Oscar's, and instantly my mood brightens. How did I ever find this guy? How did I get so lucky? When I pass the stone angel, I reach out my hand and touch hers. "The rocks call me back," he says, brushing dust off his smock. "I am outside with you today." I notice how dingy and graying his smock is, like all the others that hang on hooks around the studio. I should make him a better one, a colorful one that suits him, a floating smock. When we pass by, I see that the clay man survived yesterday's battery, more than survived. He's no longer huddled and defeated, but unfurling like a frond. He's finished, drying, and beautiful. "So I look at your practice rock and model last night," Guillermo says. "I think you are ready for some electricity." You have a lot of stone to remove before you can even begin to find the brother and sister, understand? This afternoon, I teach you to use the power tools. With these, you must be so careful. The chisel, like life, allows for second chances. With the saws and drills, often there is no second chance. I stopped walking. You believe that? About second chances? In life, I mean? I know I sound like an Oprah episode, but I want to know. Because to me, life feels more like realizing you're on the wrong train, barreling off in the wrong direction, and there's nothing you can do about it. Of course, why not? Even God, He have to make the world twice. His hands take to the air. He make the first world decide it is a very terrible world that he made. So he destroy with the flood. Then he try again. Start it all over with Noah, I say, finishing his sentence. Yes, so if God can have 2 tries, why not us? Or 3 or 300 tries? He laughs under his breath. You will see, only with the diamond blade circular saw do you have 1 chance. He strokes his chin. But even then, sometimes you make a catastrophic mistake. You think, I am going to kill myself because the sculpture is ruined. But in the end, it come out more incredible than had you not made the mistake. This is why I love the rocks. When I sculpt with clay, it feel like cheating. It is too easy. It has no will of its own. The rocks are formidable. They stand up to you. It is a fair fight. Sometimes you win, sometimes they win. Sometimes when they win, you win. Outside, sunlight has gathered from all corners of the earth. It's a gorgeous day. I watch Guillermo climb the ladder up to the female giant's head. He pauses for a moment, presses his forehead to her massive stone one before rising above her. Then he lowers the safety goggles, lifts his scarf to cover his mouth. Oh, I see. He's too cool for a face mask. Picks up the diamond blade circular saw that's resting on top of the ladder and wraps the cord around his shoulder. A loud jackhammer-like noise fills the air, quickly followed by the shriek of granite, as Guillermo, without any hesitation, takes his 1 chance and slices into Dearest's head, and then is lost in a cloud of dust. It's crowded in the yard today. In addition to Guillermo and the unfinished couple, the 3 extremely frightening brothers, and me, there's Oscar's motorcycle for some reason. Also, Grandma and Mom are at the ready. I sense it, and I keep thinking someone's watching me from the fire escape, but each time I look up, there's only Frida Kahlo basking in the sun. I forget everything else and work on freeing Noah and Jude. Slowly I chip away at the stone, and as I do, like yesterday, time begins to rewind. And I start to think, and can't stop thinking about things I don't normally let myself think about, like how I wasn't home when Mom left that afternoon to reconcile with Dad. I wasn't there to hear her say that we were going to be a family again. I wasn't there because I'd run off with Zephyr. I think about how she died believing I hated her, because that's all I'd been telling her since she kicked Dad out, since before that. I drive the chisel into a groove and hit it hard with the hammer, taking off a big chunk of rock, then another. Had I been at home that afternoon and not with Zephyr raining down bad luck, I know everything would have been different. I take off another hunk, a whole corner, and the force of the hit sprays granules onto my goggles, into my exposed cheeks. I do it again on the other side, hit after hit, the misses bloodying my fingers, hitting and missing, hacking away at the stone, at my fingers. And then I'm remembering the moment Dad told me about the accident, and how I threw my hands over Noah's ears to protect him from what I was hearing. My first reaction Not over my own ears, but over Noah's. I'd forgotten I'd done that. How could I have forgotten that? What happened to that instinct to protect him? Where'd it go? I take the hammer and crush it into the chisel. I have to get him out of here. I have to get both of us out of this fucking rock. I slam into the stone again and again, remembering how Noah's grief filled the whole house, every corner, every crevice, how there was no room left for mine or Dad's. Maybe that's why Dad started walking, to find some place where Noah's heartbreak didn't reach. I'd see Noah all curled up in his room, and when I'd try to comfort him, he'd tell me how I didn't understand, how I didn't know Mom like he did, how I couldn't possibly comprehend what he was feeling. Like I hadn't just lost my mother, too. How could he have said those things to me? I'm beating on the stone now, taking off more and more rock, because I couldn't believe he was hogging her in death just like he had in life, making me believe I had no right to grieve, to miss her, to love her like he did. And the thing is, I believed him. Maybe that's why I never cried. I didn't feel entitled to. Then he threw himself off Devil's Drop and almost drowned that day, almost died. And my anger toward him got wild and thrashing, monstrous and dangerous. So maybe you're right, I yell at Mom and Grandma in my mind. Maybe that's why I did it. I'm pounding on the stone now, cracking it into it, opening it all up, opening it all up.